Tonight on the Black Channel. If you want to know why it is that black people can't stand the Republican Party, it's moments like this that crystallize it perfectly. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college and university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program, you know, when people ask questions about, well, why is it that black folk there, you know, I mean, you've always been down on Republicans. Why are you always down on Republicans? We understand that there. And of course, they're not stupid. They know exactly why we don't support the Republican Party. Why do you always vote blue no matter who? Why do you always do that there? And it's not because they don't know. It's that people play stupid. In the words of Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, that the white supremacist society plays stupid and black folk have played stupid along with them. So that's generally what ends up happening. But then there come moments like this, where it just crystallizes everything and just reminds everyone of exactly why it is that you can try to play dumb, but if somebody ever stands up and asks the right question, yeah, it's pretty much going to go ahead and silence everything. Governor Nikki Haley, she thinks she's running for president. She's really not. She's really just running for attention. She was at a campaign stop, and there was a guy who was in the audience. Clearly, he wasn't properly vetted, because had he been, this question never would have come through. There are moments in the political campaign where it crystallizes exactly where you're at, exactly who the candidate is, and it encapsulates their candidacy in a single instant. This was Nikki Haley's instant.
Thank you, Ambassador. Please, what was the cause of the United States Civil War?
Well, don't come with an easy question or anything. I mean, I think the cause of the Civil War was basically how government was going to run, the freedoms and what people could and couldn't do. What do you think the cause of the Civil War was? I'm sorry?
I'm not running for president. I wanted to see your view on the cause of the Civil War.
I mean, I think it always comes down to the role of government and what the rights of the people are. And I will always stand by the fact that I think government was intended to secure the rights and freedoms of the people. It was never meant to be all things to all people. Government doesn't need to tell you how to live your life. They don't need to tell you what you can and can't do. They don't need to be a part of your life. They need to make sure that you have freedom. We need to have capitalism. We need to have economic freedom. We need to make sure that we do all things so that individuals have the liberties so that they can have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom to do or be anything they want to be without government getting in the way.
Thank you. And in the year 2023, it's astonishing to me that you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
No, you've answered my question. Thank you.
Next question.
And she knew right then, right there, her presidential candidacy was done. That was when she knew it. Right then, right there. She knew that that guy was sent in on a mission. He was sent in to ask a singular question. He was sent there to expose her gross vulnerability. She didn't even have the A, common sense, B, common decency to say the right thing. She couldn't bring herself to do that, because to do otherwise would be acknowledging white supremacy and actually being humane and civilized where black people are concerned. And she knows that in order to really have grassroots support among the hate group that is masquerading as a political party, that is the Republicans, this is the stance you have to take. This is where you have to be. You got to be right there. And she sat there and she strapped herself in and sat in the seat all the way to hell was what she did. Now, this is a conversation that wasn't happening 15 years ago outside of the Black channel. This is a conversation that wasn't happening a decade ago outside of the new black media. Don't expect BET, Joy Reid, Roland Martin, or anybody else to have the conversation that we're having, which is where we reminded people that, by the way, Hispanic is not a race. Hispanic is an ethnicity. White is a race. Black is a race. Asian. But Hispanic is not. And when you get into cases like Asians like Nikki Haley from East India, it's like, once again, it's like, by the way, that's not a race either. Indian is not a race. And when they come over here, we had to remind people that, by the way, when they had their opportunity to self-identify, what do they say they are? Well, let me remind you all, for those of you who may have forgotten, Mother Jones Magazine, back in 2011, Indian Nikki Haley says she is white. By Siddhartha Mahanta, she says she's white. That's not accidental. That's not accidental. She's letting you know, hey, by the way, if we had an opportunity to choose this and have our druthers, that's what it would be if we could actually choose. If we could choose it on our own, that's what we would have. The article says that for the children of immigrants, the road to acceptance in America can be a bumpy one. There will be pain, there will be embarrassment, there will be relentless, cruel accusations from your brethren that you are assimilating at the expense of your true cultural heritage. And the stories of the children of immigrants who rise to positions of influence and power are especially inspiring given the challenges before them. Not so inspiring? Lying about where you're from, like South Carolina Republican Governor Nikki Haley, the American-born child of Indian parents, might have done. The Associated Press reports that in 2001, Haley listed her race as white on her voter registration form. State Democrats accuse her of being a fake race opportunist in a state that is, according to the U.S. Census poll, about 66% white and just a tick over 1% Asian. From the South Carolina Post and Courier, the state Democratic Party, which first obtained Haley's voter registration information, is calling Haley out on the matter and challenging whether her inconsistency on the card might have made her ineligible to vote under the state's new voter ID law. Dick Harpootlian, the party chairman, said whether Haley listed her race as white or not doesn't really matter to him, but the issue is that the governor has shown a pattern of such actions. Quote, Haley has been appearing on television interviews where she calls herself a minority when it suits her. Calls herself a minority when it suits her. Yeah, a whole lot of that going around, isn't there? Shout out Kamala Harris. Whole lot of that happening among these East Indians. I couldn't help but notice Bobby Jindal. By the way, a whole lot of that. Dinesh D'Souza. We can go down the list. We'll spare you all right now. But by the way, yeah, this is not news here. This is actually very, very consistent. Very consistent. Harpootlian said when she registers to vote, she says she's white. She has developed a pattern of saying whatever is beneficial to her at the moment. For Haley, voter fraud is a big deal. She recently signed a new law requiring the voters present photo identification at the polls that she says will, quote, improve South Carolina in terms of integrity, accountability, and transparency. Voter ID laws, of course, don't actually decrease voter fraud, which is virtually non-existent. Instead, they mostly keep Democratic voters away from the polls. That was back in 2011 they said that. But yeah, just wanted to go ahead and have a brief reminder here. If you want to know where that comes from, if you want to know what the real issue here is, that's what the real issue is. This is where it really comes from. Now, there are some folks who think that they are going to seize upon this, and they're playing politics. So all the other politicians, especially folks who got their butts in the fire where black people are concerned, they saw this as their opportunity to shift blame and get the focus and attention off of them. It's what they intended to do. So you got Ron DeSantis, who immediately pounced on Nikki Haley as if he has any standing whatsoever. All he said is that her inability to answer this question like that proves she's not ready for prime time. Dude, you're not even ready for the wee hours of the morning broadcasting. Yet another delusional baboon who thinks he's running for president. He's really not. But then Jim Crow Joe Biden, a man who is losing the black vote all over the place, and he seizes another opportunity here to state the obvious that, well, the Civil War was about slavery. To which I responded, yes, sir. It's also, reparations is also about slavery too, sir. By the way, you and Nikki Haley have the same stance on our reparations. In case anybody was wondering, or in case anyone didn't notice, you two actually have the same stance on our reparations. On the remedy for slavery, the remedy of which that has not been executed or enacted since. The reason that Nikki Haley got as far as she did is because, number one, she has kowtowed and bootlicked to white supremacy up and down the line. She's done anything and everything that they said. And when you look at her, she is white presenting. When you look at her, she presents as white. She is a female who could pass for Anglo-Saxon. She could pass for it. And because she can pass for it, she is not as readily offensive. That's how she won the governorship. You can look at her, and this isn't a person who could pass for black. No, this is a person who could pass for white. And those are the rules of racism. Those are the rules. Especially if you don't draw your lineage back to immediate African ancestry. That's it, as long as it's somewhere else. So if you're white and South American mixed or Taino Indian mixed, okay, you can go white and East Indian or just East Indian and you can pass for that. It's okay. You don't have these blatant Africanoid features. So you kind of look exotic or whatever, but you can be white presenting. And that is good enough, especially when they hear you say all the right things. Now, if you could pass for black, that'd be different. But right now, you can pass for white. You can say all the right things. And then they know you're safe. You're safe. And that's it. But don't believe me that Nikki Haley is white. Well, believe Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley is the one who said it. Nikki Haley is the one who said that because she was safe that she wasn't going to be in politics. She knew that then. But then again, that's always the way that goes. And what she is showing you is that black people who have never done a thing to her, and she is here to declare to the world her hatred of us. That's what she's here for. To let you know that that's what I'm after. I'm here to blow every dog whistle. I'm here to reassure you. She's here to reassure that room that don't worry. I know who the enemy is. Now, this is actually a very good example because I believe this is a white man who was asking the questions there. And once again, that's the kind of thing that we need. We need exactly that type of thing. We need exactly that type of thing. That type of thing is important. That type of thing is important because if you're going to have white folk in these circles and infiltrate like that, if you're going to go to work, this is what you go to work for. You go to work here. You go to work doing this. You go to work doing this. If you want to, quote, have allies, yeah, this is what your allies are supposed to be doing. Y'all show up in the place and you didn't have to sit up here and protest. You didn't have to sit up here and throw black ink around anywhere or throw feathers or bean pie, cream pies or something at politicians. No, all you had to do was ask the right question. Her presidential candidacy was over in a single afternoon. Because this is an issue and an event that will now hang off of her and have a reeking stench the entire time. You are completely unsuited to be president. Now, that was the embarrassing part. The crazy part was seeing all these other unqualifieds sit up here and try to act as if somehow, yeah, they're better than she is. What? So it's really about tearing her down. Okay. But that doesn't build the rest of you up. That doesn't build the rest of you up. You know, I want to show you all something here. I want to show you something here to remind everybody exactly why it is that we don't support Republicans, why it is that we can't do that, certainly in their current iteration. You know what I'm going to do? Let me go ahead and do this now. Let me go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. Let me do that. Let me go ahead and do that. And when I come back, I want to show you something that you may have forgotten or you may not even have been aware of. But we are so blessed to be in an era where we have video recordings, where we can record the events as they occurred. We are so fortunate to have that. So fortunate. Because it preserves these things objectively. You can't claim that somebody put something on you. It preserves it objectively. And everyone can take a look at it and watch it and witness it for themselves and come to their own conclusions about it. But that's exactly the kind of thing that we need, because right now it's a very dangerous era for disinformation and for people to be told things that are not true. That's important. So I want to show this to you here. After we take a break here, before we do, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. For those of you who are not aware, Cash App closed my other Cash App account. No explanation given. I posted a screenshot of it here before, but no explanation given or whatever. So I'm not interested in trying to reignite that. If you have been contributing on Cash App, thank you very much. I would appreciate it from here on in. Definitely, if you can go ahead and just use PayPal or Venmo, that would be very, very great. Or you can use Super Chat. That's up to you. But if you have access to PayPal, get on code. Go ahead and just switch over to using that, or switch over to using Venmo. The links are in the description. My mods are putting the names of them in the chat room here now. So if you do that, we appreciate that as well. Thank you so much for your support. I want to send a big shout out here to Mr. Matthews. Thank you very much for your support, sir. I appreciate that as well here. To my man Mark B. and to Mr. Wilburn and everyone else who has contributed to support tonight's program, Najee and others, thank you very much. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we're going to show you in living color exactly why we don't and can't support Republicans. This is the Black Channel.
Hello, my name is Steve Burgess, and I'm the author of this book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, a closer look at parenting your school-aged child. In this book, I've explained the role of the parent and the student in addition to what accommodations, procedures, rewards and consequences and expectations that need to be in place to ensure student success from primary to high school. This book is available on Amazon.com. For more information, please visit my link tree at Easy One-on-One, and to access my latest podcast, A Teaching Moment with Mr. B. Thank you all for listening.
A white supremacist assassin seeks revenge. Corrupt FBI agents with evil intentions. Dangerous black collaborators dedicated to treason. Occam Jeffers must defeat them all and somehow survive. One misstep and he's a dead man. Join Occam Jeffers as he looks the devil in his blue eyes and tells him, "Black first." A sequel to the underground hit War of the Heart, Spirit of 1811 Publishing presents God Love Us, on sale at Amazon. Pre-order and save today. Visit spiritofo1811publishing.com and show your love.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' natural body butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And shout out to my brother Assad, to everybody else who were noticing that the Cash App was not working. Like I say, they've disabled the accounts. So please update your files on that. We appreciate it. For everyone who wants to show your support, they're trying to shut down, your ability to support it financially. I definitely appreciate that because lip service is not service. So if you're so inclined, please take this as your opportunity to show them that we're not going to stop what we're doing. And please use the PayPal or the Venmo. The links are in the description, or my mods can go ahead and post that in the chat room there as well. Now, to remind you all here about why it is that we don't like Republicans, they're not wondering about it. They're not curious about it. It's not that they're actually trying to figure it out. The Republicans don't even like their black bootlicks. They don't even like their black flunkies. Well, Jason, why do you say that? Do you all remember 2 years ago, in the height of COVID, Governor Ron DeSantis, who feigns to be jumping on Nikki Haley right now about slavery, talk about the cauldron calling the kettle black. But Ron DeSantis, do y'all remember 2 years ago when he was introducing his new Surgeon General? Remember him? Oh, yes. Remember that? He was introducing his new Surgeon General there in Florida who was going to take up Ron DeSantis's mantle about how to do things during COVID and whatnot. And we're not going to be bossed around or this, that, and the other. Yeah, he said that. And, well, folks, I could say a lot. What I'm going to say is take a look at Ron DeSantis's face. Don't believe me. Take a look at him when he is talking, when he gives the microphone to the person he's appointing as the Surgeon General of the state of Florida. All I can say is keep your eyes on DeSantis.
And he is also a regular columnist for the Harvard Focus during medical school and residency, where he discussed his experiences on the medical wards and perspective on health policy issues. He comes to Florida with really a superb background, bringing superb intellect, but also I think will bring great leadership. And so this is a big deal to move across the country from Southern California to come to the state of Florida, but we feel that Joe is just the right guy for the job. I also want to thank Dr. Scott Rifkes, who worked incredibly hard, and not just with COVID, but worked very hard prior to COVID on a number of health issues that are affecting the state. And then, of course, when the coronavirus pandemic hit, it's really been a 7-day-a-week type of job. So I want to thank him for...
Yeah, he's given all kinds of accolades, isn't he? So glad that he's so nice and so agreeable. I certainly hope that lasts. So when DeSantis gets done talking and brings his man up front, I'm so glad that we've gotten the pleasantries up front here, and he's so bright and shiny and, sunshiny about it. So that's the kind of thing you're looking for. Exactly the kind of thing you're looking for.
Joe Latipo to the state of Florida. I think he's going to do very well here, and certainly we're welcoming him with open arms. So, Doctor, the floor is yours.
You'll wish you hadn't done this. Now keep your eyes on DeSantis.
Hello, I have to check my watch because I'm in a different time zone. Okay, so good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm just really very happy to be here in Florida working with Governor DeSantis and the leadership here in Florida to really think thoughtfully and in a very positive way about our public health here in Florida, and frankly, hopefully set.
Do you see DeSantis back there? Do you see him and the way he is scowling behind this man? Now, I pointed this out before. I've done this I pointed this video on my broadcast 4 years ago when it first happened. I was like, man, DeSantis, can you contain your white supremacy and hatred long enough to get through your own damn press conference that you called? He can't even sit back. He's supposed to be a politician. He is supposed to be a politician. He can't even conceal his contempt long enough to get through the press conference for the fella he's there for. You can see it on his face. I wish this nigga would stop talking. Dude, you're the one brought him up there. You're the one nominated him. You're the one who chose him. And he can't even pretend he selected this guy, and yet can't even pretend that he's going to be okay with this.
An example for other states around the country, and maybe even further than that.
Look at that. Do you see? Let me back this up so you all can see that again. Look at DeSantis' face first. It looks like he's halfway smiling, and then look how his face changes.
Governor DeSantis and the leadership here in Florida to really think thoughtfully and in a very positive way about our public health here in Florida, and frankly, hopefully set an example for other states around the country, and maybe even further than that. So I'm really just honored and overjoyed to be here. My family is looking forward to coming. We've sold the kids.
He looks like he's pouting. He looks like he's annoyed. He looks like he is distracted. He looks incredibly hostile. Now, the brother is up there. His suit is fitting him fine. His suit is fitting him well. DeSantis looks like he stole the suit he's wearing off of somebody's clothesline out in Kissimmee somewhere. That's what it looks like. It looks like he took his suit off the clothesline from some migrant family out there somewhere. But certainly you're the governor of the state of Florida. Looking at you two right here, folks would swear the brother was the governor of the state of Florida if we're going by dress code alone. So this is what you're looking at here. And by the way, I'm stopping right now to comment, but let me go ahead and turn the volume off so you all can just see DeSantis' face on here. Do you see that? I mean, he can't even sit up here and act sensible for a minute.
So I'm really just honored and overjoyed to be here. My family is looking forward to coming. We've sold the kids. We've got 3 boys, so they know Disney World is here, and they're looking forward to that. And anytime they have complaints, we mention Disney World, and everything's okay again.
So DeSantis can keep it contained for a moment and then watch his face change again here. He can't even pretend to look agreeable. He can't even pretend to look polite. It's just like, okay, I've had enough. He literally looks like he wants to do a Trump and just walk up and shove the brother over and say, okay, you said enough now. You got your appointment. Get the hell out of here and go stay in your office and don't be seen again. That's what it looks like. It looks like that. It looks like that. Take a look at DeSantis' face. I'm just saying, you see him, he can't sit still. He's shifting around. He's nervous. No, he's just hostile. He called the press conference and he looks completely uncomfortable just being there. Look at him right now. He looks uncomfortable being there. This is why we don't support Republicans. This is why. Yeah, the Democrats don't like us. Well, yeah, the Republicans don't like us either. Well, the Republicans are honest about it. Okay, that doesn't make you better, but all right. Thank you at least for being honest. At least I can respect that more than the guy who's telling me, oh, no, let me smile at you. Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton smiling doesn't make me feel better than DeSantis scowling, but DeSantis scowling doesn't make me support him more than the Democrat smiling and being disingenuous. Well, I'm telling you I hate you to your face. Okay, well, they're telling you they hate you behind your back. Okay, well, I mean, thanks for saving me some time at least, but no, I'm not going to nominate you. No, I'm not. I'm not going to nominate you. Look at DeSantis pouting. This is ridiculous for a sitting governor. For a sitting governor. And this is the way of the Republican Party when it comes to race. They're a cartoon caricature. They're a cartoon caricature of what something should be. They're not even attempting to get support. They're not even attempting to even look like they could get support. Not even trying. And so when they are asked basic questions about American history and where they fall on that, this is what they give you. No, it's not tone deaf. No, we're well beyond tone deaf. This is not tone deafness. This is just outright refusal, but it's not tone deafness. You see, in order to get anywhere with them, you got to come straight up the middle with it. Remember, after the massacre committed by Dylann Roof, Nikki Haley, she wasn't very conciliatory there for a reason. We pointed this out then. And she has been making it her job and her duty to reassure the Anglo-white population that the East Indian white population knows the drill and knows the script. That's what she's been trying to do. With varying results. Nikki Haley does not have a single shred of black support anywhere. She is simply right now engaged in a knife fight to the death with Ron DeSantis over who is going to lock up that hardcore extremist white supremacist vote. She's just looking to win some primary states somewhere. And she's going all in. But she represents the Republican Party as a whole. Even though the mathematics no longer support that. She's still towing the line for them and the party as a whole. Because this is who and what you have to be. Show me the Republican who is full-throated acknowledging slavery. I said acknowledging slavery because once you acknowledge slavery, then you have to acknowledge the effects of slavery. You see, there's a reason why no one is talking about the American Revolutionary War or the Spanish-American War. There's a reason why nobody's talking about that, because the negative effects of that have been abrogated over time. That as a singular event. The things that happen after that are a different matter. The Native Americans receive reparations. we didn't receive anything. We built the nation, we built the society, we built the culture, and we received nothing. As a matter of fact, we've been told that there hasn't been any negative effect. None at all. The Republican Party is so proudly, boastfully proud of their racism, of their blatant in-your-face racism, that they are blind to the fact that, by the way, this doesn't work. They're completely blind to the fact it doesn't work. They talk about the Democrats and the Northeastern liberals in their New York bubble, but then they don't look at themselves in their Mason-Dixon line bubble. And they tell themselves that as long as they believe that, don't worry, everybody agrees with us. Everyone agrees with us. Everyone feels like us. And both of these political parties are trying to figure out how they can accomplish their political goals and bypass us. Both of these political parties are attempting to determine how they can achieve their goals and at the same time bypass us. How can they circumvent us? How can they sit up here and carve off a few black votes, but not have to be obligated to do what's necessary to take home the lion's share? How do we do that? You have the Democrats who are just trying to get 50% of the black vote, and then you have the Republicans who are just trying to see if they can figure out how to get 5%. In the chat room, you are very correct to remind people that, yes, Governor Ron DeSantis wanted to tell us all about the benefits of slavery. And why not? Why not? They're rewriting the textbooks in Florida. So why not? Why not? And what I'm saying here is that this blatant disregard for objective reality and fact, here's the reason why the Republicans don't get any support. Because our objective reality that we confront every day we walk out the door, that's why. Listening to them with their spin and listening to them with their contrarianism, that doesn't help. That doesn't do anything. That doesn't do anything. We are meeting dead reality in the face out there, and they know it. So their job is to sit up here and create an alternative reality where everybody in this room knew what the problem was. Everyone in this room knew what the answer was. They all know why they're there. They are there to all have a group pep rally, listen to Nikki Haley use these abstract terms that they know are code speak for supporting white supremacy and attacking black people. That's what they're there for. They get together and sit up here and talk in these code language and these code words. And then you had somebody jump up in the audience and simply say, let's take a history lesson. And at the end of it, he encapsulated it perfectly. It's the year 2023. You talked about the cause of the Civil War without ever mentioning the word slavery. And then she showed that she was completely unprepared to defend it by saying, well, what do you want me to say about slavery? That type of contempt for reality.
Speech freedom of religion, freedom to do or be anything they want to be without government getting in the way.
Thank you. And in the year 2023, it's astonishing to me that you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
No.
What do you want me to say about slavery? What do you want me to say about slavery? Like so many other members of the Republican Party, she cannot even hide her contempt when she needs to do it. This isn't a matter of opinion, Nikki. You need to hide your contempt for black people right now. All eyes are on you. This is not the moment for you to go full-blown white supremacist. And about something as cut and dry and black and white as slavery, what do you want me to say about slavery? Baby, she knew, that's what I said before. Take a look at the look on her face.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
She knows that it's over. When he said, that's it, thank you. And she knew he was sent there to get you, and he got you. He was sent there to play gotcha, and he got you. Because you didn't have the human decency to be able to say the obvious, that the Civil War was about states' rights for slavery. The states' rights to dehumanize, imprison, and commit barbarism against black people. You didn't have the decency to say that 2 + 2 = 4. Because all that code speak she had been doing before, that was for the consumption of the passive white supremacists sitting around her. But the problem is you're running for president of the whole country. And now for you to say, what do you want me to say about slavery? How can you be so stupid? But then again, it was about being impulsive. It was about being impulsive because, you see, that's the real thing coming through.
Government getting in the way.
Thank you. And in the year 2023, it's astonishing to me that you answer that question without mentioning the word slavery.
What do you want me to say about slavery?
No, you've answered my question. Thank you.
Now, by the way, do you see how steel-faced she is right there? Do you see how square-jawed and steel-faced she is? Do you see that? She is sitting there square-jawed and steel-faced. I mean, she is serious, rock-ribbed, and stern. What do you want me to say about slavery?
What do you want me to say about slavery?
No, you've answered my question. Thank you.
And she knew it right then, right there. She knew it. You're done. Your goose is cooked. Your goose is cooked. And of course, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Of course, that would happen. It makes perfect sense because this is what your party stands for, because this is what you stand for. You all get together in these groups and you can call yourselves Republicans or Libertarians or whatever, but then when we ask you, what do you want liberty to do? And at the end of the day, when it all boils down, is going to have to get back to, we want the liberty to mistreat black people. We don't want the government getting in our way of mistreating them. We want the liberty to victimize, because if someone's telling us what we cannot do, then we are not free. We are not free. If the government is telling us that we cannot victimize and harm you with impunity, then we are not free. We're not free until they tell us until they get out of our way and allow us to do that. Now we're free. Now we're free. You've heard it said that white supremacy is a religion, but white supremacy is also a disease. White supremacy is a disease that makes you oblivious to the obvious reality sitting around you, that you look at the world through the lens that they really do want to be like us. They really do want us running things. They really do want to be beneath our boots and under our heels. They really do want that. That's the perspective that they're coming at it from. That all of us really do wish we had the Nikki Haleys running our lives and depriving us of our rights and telling us what our limits are and taking us all and boxing us off in little corners, that's what we really want. But then again, I think this was a brilliant moment here because what it does is it also demonstrates that in their world, they walk around black people all the time in South Carolina, but in their world, black people don't actually exist. In their world, we are the legal aliens. We're just the tourists. We're just squatters. But in their world, you don't really talk about us because intellectually, as far as they're concerned, intellectually, we don't exist. We don't exist. We're like people walking down the sidewalk. Well, yeah, we're around, but we're not actually consequential to that house. We're not actually consequential there. You're just kind of around. But you don't actually exist. Well, that goes back to the perspective of you're not actually human. You're not actually human. See, there's the perspective that you have to watch out for and be very, very careful about. You have to be careful about that one. When I talked to Jared Taylor, when he was talking about white people separating, and I'm like, that's not going to work. Now, I've explained to you all why that won't work, and it can't work. Because even if you did have your separatist nirvana, here's the problem. Why do you want it? They want their separatist nirvana because they want to be protected to indoctrinate and cultivate their belief that we are subhuman. Well, here's the problem. You cannot commit crimes against humanity of someone who is subhuman. That's the problem. You cannot commit genocide against subhumans. You cannot deny human rights to subhumans. And invariably, the whole reason why we're in the situation that we're in today is because of Europeans on the other side of the world who came out of Europe and then said, you know, all these subhuman people, somebody eventually breaks ranks from the group and says, yeah, damn isolationism. They're not even human anyway. Why are we sitting up here holding ourselves back and camped out in the cave? Why don't we go out there and go take what they got? It's not a crime. So while Jared Taylor will give you the slogan that, well, you know, we just want to have our own thing and be off by ourselves, in practice, that will not occur because he's saying it's because we want to be by ourselves because you're subhuman. No, you want to isolate yourselves. And what that will turn out to be is a regrouping. And then what is there to prevent you from going on the march again? You know, like the founding fathers of America did. Because you have still not relinquished that core fundamental belief that you are superior and thus we are subhuman. So in other words, if we're sitting on something you want, if we are sitting on something you want, then by definition, if we are subhuman, there is no conscience that you have about walking in and taking it from us again. Because we've already settled the matter that we are subhuman. And that's your real purpose and real cause for stretching this out and saying, let's go ahead and isolate ourselves and trying to draw this out as long as you can. Because eventually it's about getting purity of thought among white society. And along with that purity of thought will always be that incessant core belief, by the way, these other folks are subhuman. Well, then, in other words, they have no rights that you are obligated to observe. In other words, they have no rights that you are obligated to observe. You don't have to observe their humanity, their dignity. You don't have to observe anything. And Nikki Haley has, for the umpteenth time, exposed to the world that that's where she is. Now, the reason why this will be the kiss of death for her is because white supremacy has to be subtle in order to be sold to the masses. You can't feed the masses straight white supremacy. You can't do that. You have to be a slick salesperson. You have to dress it up as something else, nationalism, economics. You gotta dress it up as something else. You can't come out the gap and make it clear, black and white, that we're white people over here and those are black folk over there. You can't do that. Because when you're that blatant, you done brought the heat on. Everyone who adheres to that principle knows, you can't sit up here and say it blatantly because that brings the heat down. That gets all eyes on us. That brings everyone watching us. That gets all the attention on us. That gets all the focus on us. And when everyone is focused on us, then they can see exactly what we're doing. You got to speak in code so that when we do harm black people, we can claim, oh, that was an accident. That we were supposed to do all that right there. Well, they should have pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. When you are so blatant with it, you have removed the one thing they need most, plausible deniability, because white supremacy is so heinous. It is so heinous and so inexcusable that once you see it and recognize it for what it is, you are obligated to stop it. You don't get to just keep going. You are obligated to stop it. That is why you cannot come out with a full, no diluted white supremacist agenda. You can't do that. You've removed plausible deniability because everyone knows what needs to be done. And when you sit up here and declare, we're going on the march, then by definition, that puts the people you're trying to go on the march against on high alert. Whereas this will be easier if we just go ahead and slowly seep this thing in. So Nikki Haley is done because, like so many others before her, she is so used to talking to a safe audience of fellow believers that when she's actually in a situation where she's got to stop talking like that, she no longer even has the vocabulary to do so. When she was finally had all eyes on her, and it wasn't a big rally here, but all eyes were on you then. When she finally needed to be able to stop talking like that, she wasn't able to bring herself to do so. She doesn't even have a vocabulary that can do that. She doesn't even have she doesn't even have the words to be able to say, let me not do this. Let me not be so threatening. Let me make sure that they can't see me for what I am and see what I'm doing. Don't do that. But you can't fight harder than you've practiced. And she has done no practicing whatsoever to conceal her true intentions. She's done no practicing whatsoever. None. The other thing is, now here's where you get into something dangerous and deadly. The other thing here is that Nikki Haley has been a member of a hardcore right-wing white supremacist political party, but she is the non-white person. She's not truly white. You're not good enough white. She is their beloved little less than white flunky. Now, we all know what happens when you join a gang and you don't actually have the credentials to be a true, pure member of that gang for whatever reason, but you're a gang member wannabe. Now, we all know how this goes when you have a gang member wannabe. Well, your credentials are always being questioned by the group. You're always being affronted by the group. They're always looking to challenge you on the basics of who or what you're not. So if you gonna make it, you have to overcompensate. You got to show the other members of the group that you are more about the code and credo and practices of the gang than they are. So you see, whereas somebody else would have backed down on that slavery question, she got to show everybody else she about that life. I don't give a damn who's watching. I'm going to stand firm, 10 toes down, right here. Not going nowhere. You're not going to move me. Right when she needed to move, she is so determined to show the rest of the members of the gang that she is with them, that she is worthy of being their leader, that now she's out to show them that she's more white than they are. I'm more white than you. I'm more white than you are. And I'll prove it. Why, I will stand up for states' rights to slavery more than you will. Ron DeSantis backed down, but I'm not backing down. I'm more about this. I'm more with the business than any of you. See, that's the angle that she's coming at it from. She's coming at it from the angle of, I got to prove I'm about this. I got to prove I'm about this life. These folks are always questioning my credentials, you know, in the back corners and whatnot. They talking trash about me on the low. They're whispering and murmuring against me on the sneak. Outside of Trump, she had more approval ratings than the other candidates, even though none of them are out of single digits. But of all the folks who are going to lose, she had the most support of all the people who were predestined to lose. Everybody at the debates is going for her neck. All the other Republicans, including Vivek Ramaswamy. You want to talk about stop Asian hate? Hey, Nikki, Vivek, can we stop the Asian hate? By the way, no. I mean the Asian hate among Asians. Can we knock that off for a minute? Come on now. But she was so determined to demonstrate to all those folk behind her, to demonstrate to the Anglos that she is more proud of their history than they are. That nobody's going to shame her into not supporting Anglo history. Black people ain't no black people. Now, of course, there are many of you who will say, you know, well, this probably goes to her Indian roots as well. So you can see why it is, once again, that the dominant society has no problem supporting her. So when you talk about the Asians from the Orient or from India, when you start taking a look at that, there's a reason why they get accepted there, because it's like, oh, even back in their home countries, they don't like black folk over there. So you see, it's already understood. It doesn't have to be explained, communicated, discussed, talked about. Man, this is easy money. This is where you want to be, and this is easy money. All we do now is just, hey, we're all on the same page. We're all on the same page without us ever having to discuss it. She knows all the code words. She knows all the dog whistles. She knows all of that. All of that. And let's be very, very clear, when the rest of those Republicans finish bouncing her ass out of this race, and they will, she is still going to toe the damn line. She will have not a negative thing to say whatsoever, because she's completely bought in. Just like all the others, she's completely bought in. They all disagree on nuanced, superficial things. But at the end of the day, when you take a look at Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Ron DeSantis, what the hell does this Republican roster of rodeo clowns have in common? Oh yeah, all of them have made it very clear that black people are the enemy. All of them have run on platforms of we're anti-black. And all of them had to come out and say exactly what it is. Nikki was like, oh, by the way, I haven't actually come out and articulated straight up, no chaser, that I'm against black people. So I got to go ahead and fix that. And she took this as her opportunity to fix that and address that. She probably thought that it was going to just play on Fox News. She probably thought that, well, nobody cares about my campaign anyway. So what harm could it do? Nobody's really watching. And then she found out everyone was watching. Then she found out everyone was watching. That's a hell of a time for you to make your debut and go live. Hell of a time. Hell of a time for that to happen. But that's where she is now. That's where she is. She's in that situation. And this is what it means to be a member of the Republican Party. This is what it's always meant in the modern era, to be a member of the Republican Party. This is the Republican Party. So don't even ask us why it is we don't support you. Just because we don't support Biden doesn't mean we support you. That doesn't mean that we've had a change of heart where you are concerned. We're still watching you all. We're still listening to you. And just because we've been putting the boots to Biden and the Democrats now all this time, just because we're objective about them, doesn't mean that suddenly we've decided to give you a pass and that we're reconsidering you. No, we know exactly what you are. We know exactly what you are. We know exactly who you are. We have not forgotten you at all. You might wish we did. I assure you we didn't. Little old Nikki Haley has watched as her legacy has now been etched. There would be much weeping and gnashing of teeth. There would be much wailing and moaning. She would be going to the news outlets when this thing is finally over, and she is bounced out on her ear, and she will declare that I was taken out of context. It was a gotcha moment. But then again, ma'am, you have a long track record of doing this, so very clearly it's not just a gotcha moment. That guy knew what to ask because he knew how you were going to respond, because that's the way you always respond. So he knew what to ask because he knew what you were going to say. He just needed to have a lane opened up and cleared open for him. And by the way, I would not put it past the Republican National Committee to have allowed that guy in there, that DeSantis and the rest of the folks got together and allowed that guy to go in there and ask that question specifically for the purposes of knocking her out of the race. I would not put it past the Republican Party establishment that they set this up and that they sent that guy in there to ask that question. Next thing you know, it goes nuclear and she's gone. And she's gone. Just like that. You don't have to ask why black people don't like the Republican Party. You already know why we don't like the Republican Party. You already know why you don't get our support. You already know that. Playing dumb will not change it. Thinking that we're going to overlook your obvious overt hatred of black people and then, well, but there are some other issues we can agree on. That's the idea that they got. Well, if we can get to agree with them on some other issues other than the fact that you despise us and you see us as subhuman, you mean other than that, there's an issue other than that? Do tell. Do tell. No, you can see the writing on the wall at this point, and pretty much here, you're just kind of done. You're just kind of done. But if you wanted to see a political campaign implode in real time, if anyone was questioning whether or not the black vote and the issue of black people is still, as always, the preeminent issue of our time and of all times, just ask Nikki Haley. Don't believe Jason Black. Ask Nikki Haley if you can ignore the black vote, even if you're a Republican. Ask Nikki Haley if black people are still the defining issue of American politics and American culture. Don't believe me. Ask her. If you can find her. If you can figure out where she's hiding out at, you could do that. I want to send a big shout out here tonight to my man, Mr. Richburg. To my man, Mr. Richburg here. Thank you very much for your support here tonight. Mr. Warren and everyone else who has contributed toward tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. Thank you all very much for your support here. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, you want to go and check out our groundbreaking best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., Gentrified, Race War, all available on DVD and streaming. Go to blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank all of you for watching tonight's program. Thank you for tuning in live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you all for supporting the program as well. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.